Dear viewers and followers, welcome back to one of the training lessons for the Ameen Accounting and Warehouses System. I hope everyone subscribes to this channel and activates the notification bell to encourage us to continue publishing more videos. The title of today's lesson is Return Bills. It means purchase returns and sales returns. As we previously learned how to create purchase or sales invoices, today we will learn how to record return invoices, whether it is a purchase return or a sales return. It should be noted that there are 3 ways to record return invoices. The first method is the traditional method, where you can go to the Invoices menu, then click on Purchase Return or Sales Return. We notice that it is the form that we learned previously while recording purchase or sales invoices. The customer or supplier fields must be filled in, as well as the warehouse field, and the payment method must be chosen. Then list the items with their quantities and prices. Then press the Add button and then save. It should be noted that this method is the traditional method, and through which the return invoices are not linked to the original invoices, with the possibility of errors during entry, which can be avoided by the second advanced method. This is done by going to the Invoice menu, then Return from Bill. First, you must specify the type of return. Whether the return is from the current year or a previous year, or in Modifung a previously recorded return. Then you must specify the type of original invoice according to the available types, which was previously created. You must also choose the type of return invoice according to the type of the original invoice. Then specify the original invoice number that will be returned, or part of it will be returned. Click on the Read button. The software will search for this invoice and retrieve its data, including the customer name, the store, and the date of the original invoice, and the payment method, which can be changed. It can be noted that the items table has not been filled in and that the warehouse field is locked and cannot be modified. What you should know is that there are options for these matters. I will cancel this process to see these options by clicking on the Tools menu and then Options. Then click on the File Options tab. At the end of this window, you will find some options related to the return from bill, which can be activated or not activated according to the requirements of the company or management, such as allow modifying the warehouse or allowing the modifying the cost center and other available options. You can also click on the Save tab. At the end of this window, you will find one option. It is Add all bill items on read. I will now click on the OK button to save these options, and go back to the second method of recording return bills. After selecting the type of original invoice, the type of returned invoice, and the original invoice number, click on the Read button. We will notice that all fields have been filled in addition to filling in the items table, according to the original invoice that was selected. It should be noted that the warehouse field and the cost center field can be modified. The date of the return invoice and the method of payment must be recorded. If you choose cash payment method, you must specify the account. In the case of credit, the account will be the customer or supplier's account and cannot be changed. As for the items table, all items have been filled in and the original invoice quantities have been determined. It is not possible to add any item that is not previously included in the original invoice. We must record the returned quantities. Notice that there are some options at the bottom of this window. For example, you can click on the Original Invoice button to display the original invoice directly. You can also press the Return All button. Also note that prices are determined according to the original invoice, which can be changed if the option is activated within the file options. Or record the returned quantities manually. It should be noted that if there are any discounts or additions to the invoice, they will also be filled automatically. Then you must click on the Add button and then save. It should be noted that in this way, the return invoice is linked to the original sales invoice. If we go to the invoice from which the return was made, which is invoice number 1, we will notice that the Edit or Delete button is not active. This is because there are return invoices linked with this invoice. Which can be viewed by clicking on the More button and then Return Invoices. These invoices can be canceled by selecting the invoice and then pressing the Delete button. It can also be modified by selecting the returned invoice and clicking on the Modify button. This is the second method of entering return invoices. The third method is from within the original invoice. This is done in the original invoice window by clicking on the More button. And by clicking on the Returns Bills tab, then you can click on the New button to add a new return invoice from this invoice. Then complete the rest of the previous steps. You can also add purchase return invoices in the same way by choosing the type of original invoices as purchases and the type of returned invoice as purchase return, and then completing the same previous steps. Finally, I hope that this video contains new and useful information for everyone. Share it with your friends to spread the benefit. With many thanks to everyone.